Welcome back to Kadira Recaps. Today I will show you a satire, dream, blood and gore movie from 2012 named Dark Shadows. Keep an eye out and fare thee well. In the year 1760, the Collins family passes on Liverpool and sails to Maine, New England, to grow the family realm. They start an inconceivably effective fishing business that permits them to lay out the town of Collinsport in their own stupendous home, Collinwood. Regardless of whether their cash develops, the proprietor ensures that his child, Barnabas Collins, is raised, realizing that family generally starts things out. After 15 years, Barnabas takes part in an extramarital entanglement with one of the family's workers, Angelique, who is subtly a witch. At the point when she asks him for his affection and in addition to his body, Barnabas tells her he doesn't feel that way about her, so as retribution, she does magic to kill his folks. Barnabas suspects something dim caused such a mishap, so he begins to explore the dim expressions while he starts a relationship with Josette Dupress. Angelique hears them pronouncing their affection for one another and gets envious, so she utilizes her enchantment again to make Josette leap off a bluff. Unfit to save her in time, Barnabas bounces after her. However dissimilar to Josette, he gets by the fall since Angelique has reviled him to turn into a vampire with the goal that his misery could continue forever. Then, at that point, she assembles a furious horde of residents, turns them against Barnabas by bringing up he's a beast, and together they all catch him and lock him inside a final resting place that they then, at that point, cover in the woods. Years after the fact, in 1972, Victoria Winters is on a train ride to Collinsport on the grounds that she's seen a promotion from the Collins family searching for a tutor. Victoria isn't her genuine name, yet she's taking off from home and doesn't need individuals to know their genuine personality, so picks Victoria from a banner on the train. At the point when she shows up at the bequest, she's gotten by Willie Loomis, the overseer, who makes sense of that the chateau, which isn't in a great shape these days, ought to have administration of 100 workers, yet it's simply him and Mrs. Johnson. At that point, Elizabeth Collins Stoddard, the family female authority, appears and talks secretly with Victoria to clear up the gig for her. Subsequent to referencing that it's only 7 individuals in the house including the representatives and that they're a region of the chateau they don't for even a moment use any longer, Elizabeth asks her some questions that Victoria responds to with a solid measure of backtalk, which Elizabeth appreciates. Also, causes her to acknowledge recruiting her. Later at supper, Victoria meets the remainder of the family. There is Elizabeth's sibling Roger Collins, who is a loafer, Elizabeth's high schooler girl, Carolyn Stoddard, who is going through a defiant stage, Roger's child David Collins, who isn't doing great since his mom kicked the bucket when he was 5 and figures he can see her phantom, and specialist Julia Hoffman, a therapist employed to manage David's issues yet burns through most of her time smashed. Victoria feels for David and lets him know she has confidence in apparitions as well, which Elizabeth doesn't take well. Minutes after the fact, when Victoria is preparing for bed, she sees Josette's phantom in the corridor. She tells her he's coming prior to going to the lobby and orbiting the crystal fixture a couple of times, and subsequent to rehashing he's coming, she falls the same way she did that day on the precipice and vanishes. 244. In the meantime, in the backwoods, a development group constructing a McDonald's is doing some digging. Also, tracks down Barnabas' final resting place. They open it to see what is inside, and now that he is free, Barnabas continues to take care of on each and every specialist, saying sorry for his many years old craving. Subsequently, he advances toward the house by walking, noticing, and getting befuddled by all the innovation and present-day clothing on the way while shrouded in blood. At the point when he comes to the bequest, he tracks down Willie in the nursery and entrances him with his vampire powers to give him the data he wants. He additionally requests that he tidy him up prior to taking him inside. While attempting to acquaint himself with the kids, Elizabeth hinders him and requests that he talk in private, communicating her doubts of his character and saying every one of the otherworldly fantasies encompassing the family are simply fantasies. Barnabas demonstrates he's coming clean by opening a mystery room not even Elizabeth knew about, and vows to carry back the family's brilliance with all concealed fortune from that room. Elizabeth consents to acknowledge him back in the family, however, under one condition: he mustn't let anybody know that he's a vampire. The following day, during breakfast, she acquaints him with the others as Barnabas III, a 343 far-off family member from England. 344. The family starts talking business and they clarify for Barnabas that the Collins fishing realm is gone. Presently the whole region is administered by Angel Bay Seafood. At that point, Victoria goes into the room, and Barnabas can't resist the urge to play with her, since she looks such a lot like Josette. Back in the area, Angelique is as yet alive under the name Angie Bouchard, and she is presently the strong pioneer and CEO of Angel Bay Seafood. At the point when her representatives enlighten her concerning the mishap in the backwoods, she goes there to see it with her own eyes and is stunned to track down the open final resting place. Not burning through any time, she rapidly drives to Collinwood, where she trades a few put-downs with Elizabeth before Barnabas removes her to talk in private. When he shuts the entryway behind him, Angelique kisses him, then, at that point, lets him know Collinsport is currently her Angel Bay, because of the fishing industry she's begun deliberately to demolish. The Collins. The residents regard her as their chief while they've overlooked him, so at any rate, no one will accept him. After Angelique leaves, Barnabas communicates his concerns to Elizabeth, who reminds him that regardless of what befell him previously, he generally battled on with such an assurance that they needed to take care of him in a case. His family needs him now, so he ought to battle on in the present as well. Enlivened by her words, Barnabas starts focusing on taking greatness back to the Collins. By selling a portion of the fortune from the secret room, he employs many individuals to redesign the manor and reconstruct their fishing organization. With the assistance of an umbrella, shades, and a cap, he figures out how to get out during the daytime without the burning by the sun, despite the fact that he experiences difficulty tracking down a spot to easily rest. So he causes the workers to present to him his old casket. At the point when the organization starts chugging along as expected, Barnabas employs anglers by entrancing the skippers working for Angelique and making them change sides. In his extra energy, he keeps on finding out about innovation and invests time with Victoria. One night, after Roger sees him escape the mystery room with treasure in his grasp, Barnabas is found by Julia, who thinks he acts extremely bizarre and welcomes him to her office. She mesmerizes him and inspires him to admit his mysterious, so she abandons him to go shout at Elizabeth for having kept it from them. Elizabeth persuades her not to go to the police when she brings up that Julia ought to be captivated by him, and she is, so she believes him should remain and become familiar with him. In a little while, Barnabas asks Carolyn for counsel on the most proficient method to court current ladies. Carolyn lets him know he wants to drop all the old-fashioned mentality and spend time with cool individuals, so Barnabas winds up in a radical circle, sharing stories while smoking in the timberland. After the young ladies instruct him that ladies need love and not cash, Barnabas kills them all to take care of himself. The following day, Julia starts giving him blood bondings to check whether they can fix his vampirism. At the point when Barnabas praises her, Julia helps him to remember the specialist patient privacy idea and gets kneeling down before him to delight him. While Victoria and Barnabas keep on getting to know each other and bond over discusses the powerful, Angelique is irate that the Collins organization is finding actual success once more. The board individuals fail to see why should this matter is on the grounds that Angel Bay actually rules more than 95% of the nets. However, Angelique makes sense of it's an issue of dignity and carrying on what her grandma began, a method for obliterating the Collins family. She calls for Barnabas to have a gathering and deal him the valuable chance to sell his organization to hers, however he rejects. Angelique reminds him she possibly needs his adoration and takes steps to kill Victoria in the event that he doesn't give it to her. Barnabas yields and has intercourse to her all around the workplace, obliterating the majority of it as they go. After they're finished, he understands it was a mix-up and tells her he can't accompany her, so Angelique vows to annihilate him. Barnabas keeps on seeing Julia for blood bonding